There are only two movements in any relationship. And this may shock you: toward or away. And your nervous system decides which one. Not your heart, not your mind, not your intention, not how much you love them. Your body decides first. And most of us have been making relationship decisions from a regulated or a dysregulated nervous system our entire lives. And then wondering why we keep ending up in the same place. I'm Tiffany O'Harn, holistic healer, nervous system guide, and speaker. And as always, don't take my word for it. Try it on. Before we go there, if you are in a relationship pattern that does keep looping, the same dynamic, different person, the same ending, Let It Go, the workshop, was built exactly for this. It's a 60-minute workshop on releasing what was never yours to carry. It has a live clearing practice. And then the clearing practice is also a 15-minute guided meditation for you to do over and over. A 396 hertz and a 528 hertz frequency track. And it's all for $47. The link is in the bio, because you cannot connect towards someone when you're still carrying what disconnected you in the first place. Excuse me. Every relationship, romantic, friendship, mom, dad, child, colleague, it has only two directions. It's either toward or away. And when you are regulated, you move toward each other, toward connection, toward honesty, toward vulnerability, and toward love. When you are dysregulated, you move away. You shut down. You avoid, and you push. You disappear. You get really loud. You get cold. You get mean. You get righteous. You slam doors. Here's what nobody tells you, but I'm gonna. You can love someone completely and still move away from them because your nervous system doesn't feel safe. And that is not a relationship problem. It's a regulation problem. In the moment you understand that, the moment you stop making it about the other person and start asking what your nervous system is doing, everything changes. Everything changes. Try it on. Pardon me. And here's something, and I love this, okay? Here's something the HeartMath Institute has shown us in their research. The heart's electromagnetic field, your heart, can be detected by the people around you and produce measurable effects on someone up to 5 feet away. That's incredible. And so, right, in that 5 feet, that field, that signal your heart is broadcasting changes distinctly depending on your emotional state, right? And so it is registered in the brains of the people around you. So when you walk into a room dysregulated, when you sit across from your partner dysregulated, they feel it, not as a thought, as a signal. And their nervous system receives yours before a single word is spoken. And this is not woo, it's research. And it means something profound. How you show up in your body determines the energetic field of every relationship you're in. And we talk about communication. Yes, words matter. Make no mistake, words matter. But the signal your body is broadcasting before you open your mouth, that's the real conversation. Let that land. And I want to tell you something personal. In my first marriage, I moved away constantly, right? Not because I didn't love her, because I didn't know what else to do. I tried to fix, did that a lot. I tried to please. Oh, yeah, I did that a lot. I fought to be seen, to be heard, to be important, to be relevant. And none of it worked because I was doing all of it from a very dysregulated nervous system. I thought the problem was us. I thought the problem was her. I thought the problem was the relationship, but I was the common denominator in all of it. And I just couldn't see that yet. And here's the truth that took me years to understand. Leaving doesn't always solve the loop because the loop lives in you. Your relationships are a mirror. They will keep reflecting back exactly what your nervous system believes it deserves. What it believes is safe and what it has always known. So it's a new face, but the same loop until you do the work inside. And right now, I have a choice in my current marriage to move toward, right? To show up as regulated as often as possible. Because when we show up regulated, imagine what can shift. Because you are the common denominator in all of your relationships, in your life, in everything you have ever done, in every relationship you've ever been in, you're the common denominator. And that's not an accusation. As a matter of fact, I find it to be the most empowering thing I know. Because if you are the common denominator, then you are also the solution. And that is power. The other side of that is force. And we seek power. Force comes from our ego. Force comes from dysregulation. Force has the other person with their fists up, ready to move out of this or away from connection with you. And so let me give you a real example. Pretty mundane, right? I have a great attention to detail. I can tell you what the person I saw this morning was wearing. I can tell you some of the license plates of the people that I see often, you know. However, my attention to detail isn't always the same way that it is for my wife, right? And so, for instance, dates, times, the calendar, she needs that. It helps her feel considered. It helps her have a regulated nervous system. And it helps her feel like held and seen. And for me, I just don't require it in the same way. It doesn't mean I don't care. It just means my nervous system doesn't organize around it the same way hers does. Okay. And now I could say, that's just who I am, right? And that would be true. Sometimes it's fair. But I choose toward. So when I have the space, when I'm regulated, when I'm present, I find the detail. I'll add it to the calendar or I'll share it. Not because she forced me, because in that one single moment, I remembered her and what helps her feel seen. And all I can ask is that she do the same for me. So when I don't have the detail, when I forget, when I miss it, we can laugh and we can understand that it was not done to her. And that is the real step toward. There are so many examples that we can give of this because with force, right, we need something to push against. And so another beautiful, really silly example is I leave cabinet doors open. It looks like the sixth sense after I've been cooking. You would think, Tiff, you're going to hit your head. I hit my head. It doesn't serve to shut the cabinet doors. But the funny thing is Back when I had met my wife about 8 years ago, it was one of the things that I was like, hey, just to let you know. And so with that, there's no resistance, right? There's no force to shut the cabinet doors. As a matter of fact, sometimes she'll actually put her hand above the cabinet. So if I'm standing up, I don't bump it. Or she'll try to shut it before I arise. That is seeing me without force. And therefore, I have a greater capacity to remember to shut the door. Because for me, when someone does something really kind and loving, like put their hand there so I don't bump my head, then I too want to do something in return. That's connection, right? It's so easy for us in our romantic relationships to become so mean and so not able to hear because our wounds are screaming louder. And so we resist, we force. And with force becomes another power of force, right? The power is not making someone see your wounds, it's yours. The power is not in the long conversation that dysregulates you both, trying to force someone to feel what you feel. The power is in the remembrance. Half the time, I commit to remembering you. Half the time, you commit to remember me. And when we forget, right, we extend grace outside of building a case. And that's not lowering a standard. It's the highest standard I know because we're not doing things to each other. We're two people with our own nervous systems, our own histories, our own beliefs, our own wounds, our own traumas, our own ways of moving through the world. Choosing as often as I can, and hopefully she can, to move toward. Dr. David Hawkins, who I really love, he has the consciousness scale. And Let It Go was one of the most profound books by him. It's what I teach in Let It Go. And it is the most profound thing, right? Because so often we want to shame and blame and make others see our wounds. And right now I'm reading Power versus Force. And this is where this is all coming from. It was like this big aha moment in my nervous system where I'm like, everything I try to force, there's a resistance to it. But the power isn't in the force. Power doesn't need force. The power is showing up as often as I can in my relationships with the 50-50 rule, whether someone else is able, willing, or wants to, understands it, right? And I want to say something very important here. This is not about saving every relationship. Some relationships are not meant to continue. But before you make that decision, make it from a regulated nervous system. Make it together. Make it from your intuition and not your fear. Because when we make dysregulated decisions, we get dysregulated results. And if you leave dysregulated, the mirror will continue to follow you. It will continue to come back to you. All of our life, everything that's hard is trying to show us something. And it will keep showing up again and again and again. We always have two choices. Everything in your life that feels hard is simply your resistance to it. And relationships are the same. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather go through my life with really loving, vulnerable, open, honest, regulated relationships. And it doesn't mean that you don't become dysregulated. That's not it at all. But how quickly can you come back to your true north? How quickly can you show back up in the relationship? Hey, my bad, right? And come back. And let me give you something concrete. These are some clear signs that you are moving away. Okay? Moving away has you defending. It shuts down the other person. You can't even hear them. You are defending your mountain, your hill, as if 4,000 people are trying to invade it. Another sign you're moving away is getting loud. Getting loud. Getting cold. And I don't mean chilly. I mean cold. Telling the other person their truth is not their truth. That's signs you're moving away. Cutting them off to defend your hill, your mountain, signs you're moving away. Disappearing. Finding unhealthy outlets, signs you're moving away. Complaining about your partner to other people. This one I've done. We've all done it. I've done every single one of these. Needing the last word. That's a funny thing. That is a real funny thing to witness. If we were to video some of our relationship conversations and then play it back, I'm certain we would laugh at the ridiculousness of needing the last word and what that sounds like, right? It's a clear sign that you're moving away. In your truth, you don't need the last word. And the other sign that I'll share, signs you're moving away, is the inability to hold space even for a moment. Even for a moment for them. And now, what about some signs that you are moving toward each other, right? You can hold space even when you disagree. And what does that look like? That means we can agree that we have two different opinions about the same thing. And I'm not more right than you, and you're not more right than me. And we can agree to disagree in the most beautiful way. Imagine how the world would be if we could do that. I mean, that is one of the most powerful things we can do for another human being. I don't talk about politics because most people cannot hold space when we have different opinions. And so what can we learn? What can we be curious about when we're moving toward? Because when we're moving toward connection, I don't know about you, but I want to do the most loving thing for my partner, for my child, for my mom, right? I want to do the most loving thing for my best friend. And so the more I can learn, the more curious I can become, the more we can do that. Again, there's no force there, right? It's a sign that we're moving toward, and it's so beautiful. We do not have to agree to hold space. And holding space, if I can define that for you, it is the ability for another person to share vulnerably with you without you cutting them off, without you telling them how they feel, with you just lovingly listening, not trying to solve, not trying to fix, being fully present with them, for them. That's holding space. That is power. And it's so beautiful when we can do that. And I know you can do it too. And signs you're moving towards, right? You can say, I hear you. Again, without it meaning you agree, right? A lot of times we think or we expect that if you hear me, that means that you can do the thing, whatever it may be, whether the other person agrees or not. But that's not the case. You can still hear me and not agree. Those two can live in harmony. They can when you're regulated. And I know in all of your relationships, there have been points where you can look at the dysregulation and go, oh, yeah, that's true. I've done that. Yeah, you're right. But I know that also there are times in your relationships where you have moved toward. You just weren't aware, right? It's always happening. We're just speaking to it. I'm providing you some awareness, some conscious awareness, because that's power, right? Another sign that you're moving toward is you can pause before you speak. You're not defending. There's no reason. You can apologize for how you showed up, even if you still believe your point was valid. You can hold yourself accountable. That's communication. That's connection. It doesn't mean showing up perfect all the time. That's a fool's errand. We have an experienced life. How can we show up as a couple perfect? No. I practice this daily. I don't show up perfect. I'm not trying to show up perfect. I'm just practicing every day. Sometimes it's a minute to minute. Because the most important thing to remember, how you treat people is how you teach people to treat you. And this can go both ways. That's power. And you can use it as force or power. I choose power. What about you? And I don't say this to shame anyone. I say it because it's the most freeing thing I know. You have more power in your relationships than you think. If you're showing up regulated, remember the data from the HeartMath Institute? That love is extended 5 feet outside of your body. So if you're showing up to dinner, if you're showing up to a call, if you're showing up to connect, it will be felt. It doesn't always mean that it will regulate them. That's not it. It's always about us. That's selfish with a capital S in the most loving, the most vulnerable way. This is all an inside job. Make no mistake. Every relationship is here to mirror something to you. You can end your relationships and another one will show up and it will repeat. It will be on repeat, just a different face. And it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be a friendship as well. It can be another colleague. It can be your boss. It will continue to loop and you will continue to blame, all because you're choosing force unconsciously, unintentionally. But we're not here for that. You wouldn't still be hearing this. You wouldn't still be listening to this. You wouldn't have even found this if you weren't slightly ready to try some of this on. And I trust this is resonating with you. Those who have already clicked off, it's because their ego got too intense. Their ego got too loud. They were dysregulated listening to this. And this can serve to regulate you or dysregulate you. It's not my choosing. Excuse me. And here is something I want every woman in this space to practice. You're not available for every conversation at every moment. And that is not only okay, it is a regulated thing. When you feel yourself moving away, right? We talked about it, getting loud, getting defensive, shutting down. When the defensiveness rises up, boils on up, when the need to be heard gets louder than our ability to listen, hearing and listening are two different things. You have the right to pause. Not forever, not as control, not as punishment, but as a nervous system decision. And to do it with connection, that's the power, right? I want to talk about this, but I am not available for it right now. Can we come back to this when we are both in a space to really hear each other? Or can we come back to this when we are both available? That is power, and it is not avoidance. If you were to just say, no, I'm not available for this and walk away, that's not connection. You're moving away. Moving toward is recognizing that this is important to the other person, right? But you're not going to show up in a way that creates more away. That is the power. That is the power. And how accountability sounds is also like Hey, I remember I actually did a whole talk about 2 weeks ago. It was a Sunday and I was really having a tough time. And to say, like, hey, listen, I know I'm not showing up in the ways that I truly want or have been. And for that, I apologize. It's the next day saying, I just want to apologize for how I showed up yesterday. If I said anything that hurt you, then I do apologize, right? Even if someone is dysregulated and you can sense that, you can still apologize for what it is you don't know. That's okay. Our ego tells us not to, that they're wrong and they're bad. But holding yourself accountable is the most vulnerable, beautiful thing you can do in any relationship. My daughter and I practice accountability, and it is so beautiful. When she's dysregulated, I'll say, hey, listen, I know that you're having a tough time right now. That's okay. I love you, but I'm not available to be treated like this. So why don't we come back to this when we're both feeling able and ready? And I'm not joking when I say this. She apologizes for it 99.1% of the time. And she's 10. And I know that she's done it because I do it too. It's a practice. Our ego wants us to wants us to do, doesn't want us to apologize because it's the other person's fault. But it's all an inside job. It truly is. Holding yourself accountable is so hard because your ego is like, nah, thank you. It's really hard to hold yourself accountable when you're dysregulated, but you can do it. You can move towards connection even in dysregulation. You can hold yourself responsible for how you showed up. It's one of the most powerful things you can do in any relationship. When somebody, if I say to you, hey, listen, yesterday I wasn't my best, and I apologize for any way that I didn't hear you or I upset you, it instantly allows that other person to put their arms down. When somebody apologizes to you with heart, with intention, it disarms every person. When you can apologize first, ooh, think about it. Think about that. There's a field we all have, right? I remember when I was going through my divorce, and we tried counseling prior to, and the therapist. One of the things that there were two things I took away, but this one was really powerful for me. Was you cannot have a conversation with somebody after they've had 2 alcoholic beverages, right? And when I say a conversation, a conversation of depth, right, of connection, because it's altered. They're dysregulated. And I think about that so often now, right? Are we showing up to have a conversation to connect or to move away? Because I'm not available to move away, right? It's a practice. It doesn't mean that I'm perfect at it. I still get loud, but I do my best to practice not. I do my best to keep a quieter voice, to keep my regulation, to know that whatever my partner, whatever my mom, whatever the people around me are doing, it's not me. It's their own wounds. And sending them love, myself first, and then them. Every time that loop of conversation when we want to fight our partner comes up, and we just like, no, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for showing me this. Think about that. Love, your heart, it extends five feet out of you. So when you're showing up and sending love, it shifts things. It's not the reason to do it, but it's the effect, right? One regulated person in a conversation can shift the entire field of that exchange. You don't have to be there at the same time. It's okay. One of you showing up can bring the energy of the whole relationship back towards connection. That's how powerful we are. That's how powerful you are. It's beautiful, right? Okay, this is exactly the work inside. Let it go. And let me tell you, I use this often. Often. I have wounds. So do you. And when it comes up, I move toward the feeling. That is choosing regulation. That is choosing selfishness with a capital S. It's choosing love. Because you cannot consistently move toward when you are still carrying wounds that taught your nervous system that closeness is the danger, that love leaves, that being seen means you get hurt, that asking for what you need pushes people away. Those are not truths. Those are your old nervous system stories, and they are running your relationships right now. It's $47. 60 minutes, a live clearing practice, a guided meditation for when things get dysregulated, you just and listen. That's it. Watch how your life shifts. What do you have to lose? Some wounds, some traumas. It also includes a 396 hertz and a 528 hertz frequency to help you move through dysregulation to regulation. And if you've never tried frequency tracks, you're in for it. You've carried this long enough. It's time to let it go. Okay. I want to close this loop. Hear me out. You know what? Before we even do that, just drop your shoulders. Take a nice breath in through your nose. And let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Just soften your face. It's amazing how much tension we carry when we don't even realize it. You are the common denominator in every relationship you have ever been in. Every single one. The relationships that worked, the ones that didn't, the ones that broke your heart, the ones you outgrew. You were there for all of it. And your nervous system was there too, broadcasting its signal, attracting what it knew, and recreating what felt familiar. And certainly not to punish you, because familiar feels safe, even when safe and good are not the same thing. But here is what shifts when you do this work. You stop choosing familiar. You start choosing regulation. You start moving toward, not because it's easy, not because the other person deserves it in every moment, but because you deserve to live in the energy of toward. Because the relationships that can hold the most love, the most truth, the most real connection, they're built by two people who keep choosing to show up, even when it's hard. Not perfectly. 50-50. Conscious. Trying. That is how relationships survive. That is how people grow. And that is how love becomes something that actually holds. That's a hallmark romance that they don't show. And so, okay, come on. Let's bring this into the body right now. Think of a relationship in your life. A partner, a friend, a parent, a child. And honestly, without judgment, ask yourself one question. Am I moving toward this person right now or away? Because your body already knows. And place one hand on your chest if it's safe to do so. And breathe in slowly through your nose. Full and slow. Hold for a moment. And exhale longer than the inhale, all the way out. And now ask, what would it look like to take one small step toward? Not a conversation, not a resolution, just one breath, one choice, 1 degree towards. That's where it starts. That is the practice. Try it on. You're not broken because your relationships have been hard. You're human. You're a human with a nervous system that learned to protect you before it learned how to connect you. And the work, the real work, is not finding the right person. It's becoming someone whose nervous system can move toward the people already in your life, can hold space, can pause, can come back, can choose toward even when away feels safer. That is the relationship standard nobody talks about. It starts with you. So share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, like, follow along. And when you're ready, Let It Go is live. $47. Link is in the bio. You've been carrying this long enough. This is Try It On, where awareness meets the nervous system and real change begins from within. Take this into your life, not as something to believe, as something to try. Until next time, I wish you a beautiful life. Cheers.